Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm pretty good, sir.
All right. Well, thank you for taking a few minutes to talk to me. I hope you don't mind.
No, please, it's good.
Well, let's start off talking about The Men Who Stare at Goats. How did you get involved with the project?
Um, um, uh, actually, George called me up and said, "You want to come to Puerto Rico?"
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. So it's nothing that I'd actually heard about before. I hadn't read a script or heard about the movie, and so he'd called me, and we'd done some other stuff before, and said, "Why don't you come and play on this?" And it was a subject that I wasn't really familiar with.
Right.
I don't think a lot of people were, and so anything he wants to do, I'll be happy to go do with him anyway, because I think he's great. But I thought this was a really interesting subject matter, and we went ahead and did it.
Sure. Now, on the set, did you guys get involved in discussions about, psychic powers and killing goats and things like that?
Yeah. Well, the good part about it is they did a lot of research on it. So they had some film and they had some interviews with the actual guy. So I got to actually see the guy who stared at chipmunks, or not chipmunks, whatever I stared at.
Right.
And so these guys, existed. It's based on actual guys who were in the service at the time. So it's not something that's completely made up and just an odd story that somebody thought would be a good idea for a movie. It's really based on fact.
Right. Now, there's a pretty big cast in this movie with you and Clooney and Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, some crappy actors like Jeff Bridges and.
Did him and George Clooney get into fisticuffs over the Oscars that early on, predicting who was going to win?
I doubt it.
What was it like working? I mean, I know you have a kind of a small but pivotal role in the film. Did you get to interact with the cast as a whole, or were you mostly involved with acting with Ewan?
No, unfortunately, I only got to work with Ewan, but that's not an unfortunate thing. I hadn't worked with him before, and he was a delight, and again, the kind of Brit you want to kill who has a perfect American accent. They all seem to. But what a grounded, nice, down-to-earth guy, and we had some discussion of that time period. But again, we were going off research that they sent us.
And how long were you on the set for in total?
Only a couple of days.
Was it a rewarding experience for you?
Oh, always. Always to be around George is fun. Always. I think I walked in. We shot this little place in Puerto Rico, this house that they really liked there. And I think the first I walked into the trailer, and George is standing there with his long hair wig on. And that was worth the whole movie right there, I thought.
Sure. Now
but, yeah, it was great.
He's a notorious prankster. Did he get you this time
He
around?
didn't have time for me. He had big pranks going. No, I don't know whether he did or not. I mean, he did some pranking in Leatherheads, but I don't know about this film. Unfortunately, I wasn't on it long enough to tell.
Now, this is kind of a quirky film, let's say. Obviously, a lot of comedy, and you tend to kind of bounce back and forth between comedy and drama pretty regularly.
Well, that's a conscious effort.
That was my question. Is that something that you strive for?
Yeah, you gotta have to with the way things are, the mentality of the studios and some casting directors. Some I've known for years and years, and they're the greatest, and will have me in for comedy and drama. But mostly it's myopic. If you've done two comedies, they'll go, well, he's the comedy guy.
Right.
They won't see you for anything. So I had to turn down sitcoms for a couple of years just to say, no, I'm an actor.
Right.
I could actually do other things if you'll give me a shot. So it was a conscious effort to just switch it out. When I'm doing a comedy, then I want to go do a serious thing after that. But,
right.
Obviously, it's what comes up.
Sure. That's interesting to me because you've been in, I think, pretty much everything, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think so.
It sure seems that way, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. But
it
just
it's
seems
all
like
right.
you could have your pick of any kind of role that you wanted.
Well, I'm lucky enough to be able to, I can pay the mortgage, so I can base work on who you would want to work with, hopefully, and the excellence on the page, whether it's a big role, small role, doesn't matter. And you always want to work with Coens, you want to work with George and his crew, and you want to work with, I'm working with a first-time director right now on a small Will Ferrell movie, but the script, I think, is fantastic. And so you got to choose by quality, I think.
Now, when you, who obviously you're very experienced, you've been doing this for a long time, and you're working with like a first-time director, is that challenging for you to kind of see somebody who's a little bit more green, so to speak, running the show?
I don't think it's as, I think first-time directors aren't as green as they used to be, because they've gone through probably extensive, film school stuff, so that they've shot many things before they get to actually direct something that they do. And again, with Grant, he'd been with George for years, so he was, although it was his first time directing, he's been at the helm of many things with George. So it wasn't I don't feel like it was really a first-time experience for him. Whereas this, the thing I'm working on now, although this guy is a first-time director, he's been, he's directed a lot of video stuff and music videos and all, and he's not, he's not new to anything, as almost anybody isn't. So.
Now, switching gears a little bit, I just want to talk to you a little bit about a different side of your career, your voiceover career. I don't think people know that, in addition to doing the voice of Bill on King of the Hill for so long, you've been in a lot of...
And Buck Strickland, of course.
That's right, of course.